an Ariens 5520, but they're all pretty much the same, I think. I'm going to get into the carburetor to clean it. So this is what it looks like. Right here, this part right there. You don't have to zoom in or anything, just so they can see where I'm at. Yeah, right there. Okay, you got to pull this guy off. That little guy. There's two screws here that I need to come off. They're sometimes kind of tight to begin with. I have already done this one time, so I'll be a little faster than you at your first time. Those two come out, and then that's got to be loosened. I wouldn't recommend pliers. I'd use a wrench, but I'm trying to go fast. Okay, this whole thing comes off, but it's still, just slide it off of that little nub there. This can stay on. You can just set it on the tire. This is the carburetor right here. So we have to pull off this little tube. Now, I've already drained the gas tank, so when you pull off this tube, gas will come out. However, there is a little turn off. Show this little part. You can turn the gas off right here on this little guy. It's right under the tank. Here's the tank. What I did is I drained the tank. So I took it off right here, pulled that, and I stuck a bottle under there and drained the tank so that I can get clean gas in there. All right? So, anyways, oops, I forgot the screwdriver. Take the clamp, slide it over, then you can pull this guy off. There's going to be a little gas in there that was just residue that was in the hose. Okay, now there's two bolts you got to take off. That one and this one right there. Again, I would recommend an open-end wrench. I'm going to try to do it with, I'm going to get a wrench real fast. Yeah. Okay, you going? Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are a little hard to get to because of this, but this thing will slide down if you need to slide it out of your way. The other problem is this side sometimes turns on you. So I need to get another one to get on that side. Go ahead and pause it. Okay, I got some needle nose pliers to hold this little guy in the back so I can get it started. The locking needle nose pliers would be better because then you don't have to sit here and hold them. They'll just lock on. But I'm at a loss for tools right now. Okay, I got that one loose. So I'm just going to take that off. It's kind of tight quarters to work on this guy, so carefully you don't lose your nuts. Okay, then we got this guy back here we have to take off same way. I'm going to hold this from the back side back there. Get this guy started. Go ahead and pause it. They don't need to see me take this off. Okay, you started?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get this last one off. Let it fall in your hand. Just going to leave it set there. Now, you got this little guy here. It's in the back hole, in the middle hole. Just remember that because this thing can come all the way off once you got it off. You also got a little tube right here. This tube can pull off. It's really tight, but it will pull off, okay? Pull that tube off, and then you're ready to release your whole carburetor. Don't lose this little gasket either. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on there. Then I'm going to pull off this little guy right here. Okay, there's the carburetor off. Stop it. Record, you mean? You going? Okay, now that you have the carburetor off, if you get a new carburetor, you're going to need to pull this little part off and put it on the new carburetor. Now, if you just want to clean this carburetor, the reason I said make sure you know where this comes off really easy. See, it comes off with just a, so if it falls off, you want to remember what holes you had it in. Anyways, so to clean it, there's a couple things you can do. You can take this off, this nut off, and just pull it straight down and clean the inside out. There's a little rubber gasket that you put a screwdriver in there and you peel it off. Oh, I probably can get it off with my finger now. Some are a little harder. Anyways, underneath that little guy, there's a you can get a straight screwdriver in there and pull off a jet. Stick your cleaner thing in there and squirt the jet out, and put it back in, and you're ready to go. I'll show you how to put it back on in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it. So I'll pause it, and maybe I'll show them how I take this apart. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this little guy off. Trying to not damage it too much, so I can put it back on, or get it to flick off so I lose it. Oh man. Alright, that part came off, kind of screwed it up a little, but should be able to get it back on, no problem. Alright, you see that's what it shows, a little guy with a screw. I'm going to pull that off, all the way off. Okay. Use my fingers to pull that out. There's one of your little jets, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let me see. Looks pretty clean, actually. I'm going to spray it out real quick with the spray. I think that's pretty clean. Now I'm going to pull this bottom of this little nut off. If you buy a new kit, it won't have that on there. That's just like another moving part that they decided wasn't worth having. Okay, so this is just to drain your gas out, so don't lose your gasket for that. If you get the carb kit, it comes with all that. Now also, don't lose, I'm going to just spray this out and kind of clean it out. See, there's a few crumbs. You don't want those. See the crumbs in there? I don't want any crumbs because that's what gets us clogged. Don't lose this. When you put it back on, you'll actually stick it on this first. I just barely cleaned this, but it got clogged again because it had crumbs of stuff in there. So I'm gonna, don't tell the EPA I just did that. I'm gonna just spray this out a little. Seems like it's not too bad. Now, I'm going to spray up in this little guy just to clean out anything. Make sure it's okay. Now, the reason I'm holding this so carefully is because this is just all setting there, okay? So if I take this little guy, this just pushes out. It's just sitting there. Okay, it just sits there, and then this whole thing comes out. Okay, so don't lose all your parts. That's why now something just came off, and I'm going to show you what that was. This is what allows the fuel to get in there. I'm going to really clean that space out as well. Now, this little spring that's on there actually goes there. So when the float floats, it raises it. So I'll show you how to put that on when we get there. So there's all your parts. I'm going to spray this little guy out as well.
What are you doing?
All right, you can stop it.
Wait, what?
Okay, so I'm gonna. This is this is that thing that the gas line came in. I'm gonna spray in there, and you'll see it squirt out of there a little bit, so we know we got some flow. Or backwards. See that? So we're getting that all cleaned up. Trying to get all those crumbs out of there. Okay, it's looking pretty clean. This is just you spray in all these little crevices just to clean things out, even though that's more of a primer. Helps to prime the gas, but anyways, that's all I spray out is those little guys. I'm going to spray in there where I took that jet out of. Oops, I get you. Sorry. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. We'll put it all back together now. My hands are freezing. All right. Is she showing it? Tell me when you're ready. It's recording? Okay. I'm going to take this little guy. I'm going to hang this little guy on that. Okay. And slowly go down to where it goes in the hole. Okay. Once it's in there, I'll take my little shaft and shove it through there. Again, there's no screws or anything. It just sits in place. And now I'm going to look at, see, my little thing fell off. That's why I told you to look at what holes it's in. Okay, so it's lifting it, and then it shoves it down when it's got full capacity. So I'm going to put this gasket back on there. Put this back on there. All nice and lined up. Put this back on. Okay. Put that guy back on. You can pause it now because that's pretty simple. Got that screwed in. I'm going to push this little plastic gasket back on there. The thing that was a little hard to take out. Okay. Now this is all cleaned up. Just those little jets are the main thing to clean up. And like I said, I drained my gas tank. Put this guy back on. Now let's go put it back together. Are we on? You're on? Okay, these are a little tricky to get back on because the bolts want to push in as they kind of got to be really careful. The guy at the shop says you should use the premium gas on these little engines. And so I've been using regular. So perhaps I'll switch over to premium. Also, I'm going to put a little, remember I was showing you where I drain the gas out? This thing doesn't have a fuel filter. So I'm going to push this down so I can push it in. Just because that was in the way. Slide nicely over that one. I'm going to get my fingers in the back there so I can push them forward just a little. They're a bugger to get to. So I got a little screwdriver to help me push them down there. All right. So now they're through. That's about how it came off. My little nuts up here. I dropped it. Gotta be really careful on dropping these. Otherwise, you'll be going down to Ace to buy bolts. It'll fit, and then you're into this project way too much time. Like I said, where I drain the gas out, I'm going to actually install a fuel filter there to keep any little crap from getting in there or whatever, because these guys sit all summer when you're not using them. Shoot. Like I said, they're kind of a pain, but your hands are going to get dirty with this job. You're not going to stay too clean because I got to get my hands all the way in there to make sure that I don't drop those bolts. Now, probably some of you are doing this in the freezing cold, which first time I did it, it was so cold. And so I was still able to do it, but I wasn't as hands-on as I am now. I just went way slower. Okay, go ahead. I'm going to tighten these up, so go ahead and pause it. Okay. I got that all tightened up. I haven't put the hose on yet. I'm just going to flush a little gas through it to make sure any crumbs, so that they don't clog it anymore. But I was noticing lots of little black crumbs, probably from the hose. I don't know. Maybe the hose is going bad and I need to change it. This thing's about 7 years old and I haven't really replaced any hoses or anything yet. In fact, I haven't replaced any parts on it yet. And carburetor, I haven't gotten a carburetor kit yet. I just okay. Like I said, over here I'm going to put on a filter, but I don't have time to do it now. I just want to get this running because I need to plow snow. Okay, now to get this hose on, I'm just going to push it, kind of like cock it in there, and then as I raise it, it kind of goes up in the hole. So that's pretty easy once you do it like that. Then I can slide this bracket back on there. Don't forget this little guy. Goes right there. Shoves on actually easier than you'd think for as hard as it is to come off. And then you put this back on there, stick it through the hole. Let's go like this. Put it through the hole and then put it right where it goes, like that. Put these two screws back. And put your little knob back on. thing possible.
One.
Okay, now with it all put back together, it should be able to gas it up. It should start right up. If it doesn't, then I'll have to use some video editing software to take this part out. Anyways, I'm just going to fill it and give it a start. Oops. Again, don't show the EPA any of this spills and stuff. All right. Use the primer. Remember the primer was that little itty bitty hose. I'm going to prime a little bit of gas in there. I'm going to choke it. I don't know if I need to choke it. I'm going to put it on high. Start it. Ready?
Mm-hmm.